And we are open to WebEx. Very good. All right, we will call the Grant County Drainage Board to order, January 9, 2024. And we actually have a couple of items we need to do before we actually get to claims. So technically, every year, we have to decide who our leadership's going to be. It's not, you know, in the concrete or written in stone tablets anywhere. So we need to first decide who you want to chair and be vice chair for this year.
I move that Mark Bardsley continue as our chairman of the board.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion with
I'll
support.
second.
All right, all those in favor?
Gordon gets the same job.
As long as Gordon gets the same job. We didn't put that in a motion, but it'll come.
Yeah, that's a separate motion.
Yeah, we'll do it separate.
All right.
Continue with the same officers. Okay.
All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. And for vice chairman, vice
I
president?
nominate Richard Cox. You needed a younger person down here. Because I'm 80 years old. I don't know, I'd like to be here a long time, but I don't know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I had a stroke 3 years ago. I'm doing well, but it's not as well. I'm not 100%. That's what I gotta say.
Feel good about that?
I won't complain.
All right.
Okay?
We have a motion for Mr. Cox to be the vice chairman.
No, sir.
Support, Mr. Cates. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.
Yes.
I want to
Appreciate
thank
that.
Gordon for being our vice chairman for so
You,
long.
you deserve a round of applause for, man, yeah.
Been a big help,
Years you been vice chairman,
been a big help to this board, I know that.
as long as I've been on the board,
Yeah, I think, I don't know when I came on.
probably at least 20.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you were on before I got elected. So you've been on.
When they had the shakeup, you remember when the shakeup was?
Yeah.
And they kicked me off and.
Yep.
Then
They shifted and said, we want to do it. All the commissioners did it, and then they go, oh, this isn't working out. Let's get 5. Let's get it spread out, and brought you back in. And
Yeah,
he's been a pillar for drainage for these years. We greatly appreciate it, Gordon.
Since I've been on, it's worked pretty good, okay?
That's right.
Yeah, it's the best board we've ever had, in my opinion.
well, I'm interested in drainage. My dad started, and he was, started farming in 1937, I think. And he was in drainage then when nobody else was in it. And you used to get government money for drainage.
Do it?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Well, drainage has completely changed
Oh, yeah,
to what it was
farming's
when
changed.
we was young, okay?
Yeah, you had.
We had woods, we had fence roads, we had, you know,
My dad started with an F-20, burnt out, and they rebuilt it. So that tells you a little bit about where he
But-
started, you know.
but today you got pattern tiling, you got this.
Oh, I know.
They're in, if cattle gets out, they chase them 5 miles before you ever find a fence to
Stop them with, yeah.
slow them, okay?
All right, let's go to minutes. We've got minutes that need to be
I'll make
reviewed.
a motion here.
Second.
Kenny's made a motion, and those minutes are
December
26.
December 26th,
6th.
okay?
Everybody was here except Mark.
Except Mark.
So we did get a second?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Richard seconded that. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye,
Aye.
and I will abstain, and we have carried 3 to 1 abstention. All right, we've got some claims to pay. Jim, if you'll walk us through the claims, please.
Okay, the first one's John's Repair Service, $622 on the Landis Tinkle Ditch, $101,016 in the fund. John's Repair Service, $1,695 on the Landis Tinkle, again, $101,000 in the fund. And then John's Repair Service, $2,500 on the Landis Tinkle. And then John's Repair Service, $575 on the Landis Tinkle. And the claims all represent some of that was on Randy Thurman. Again on Randy Thurman, east of 69.
Just digging or the tree slugs?
The $6,200 was washout.
There's none for $6,000.
Well, $622.
Okay.
Sorry.
There was a washout where the Tinkle and the Baker come together, they put riprap. There was a apron along I-69 with a tile coming underneath it that they relayed the tile underneath and then backfilled the cavity in and backfilled it. They hauled dirt from a home site across the road over onto, into the spoil area of the Tinkle on the opposite side of the road. And then
Yeah,
the bids
you've
for-
talked to him and read these. I wasn't up on it, Raymond. Thank you very
And-
much.
And, the big one is the dredging in it, 26,000 or something of that nature.
Yeah.
That was from, the price he gave us that you guys approved a few months back, I'm not sure how long ago.
Okay.
Was the big one, was the price he had brought before you and had approved, and then the riprap are ones that me and Jim approved, since I was there, needed done.
Yeah. Thanks, Raymond. Next one, Madison County Auditor, $2,121.12 on New Prairie. $23,399 in the fund. Madison County Auditor, $1,530.14 on New Prairie. Madison County Auditor, $1,732.54 on New Prairie. $23,399 in the fund. Now, this Madison County, that's to repay those people that was wrongly assessed
New Prairie.
out of Madison County. So we're gonna send that money back to the Madison County Auditor. They're gonna refund those people 3
Who did
years
we
of
charge
ditch
them?
tax. Huh?
Why did we charge them?
We didn't, it'd been charged from the other county wrong, and I talked to the farmers about trying to get it changed for years. They didn't seem to be able to get it changed. Raymond worked with the Drainage Board Secretary that'd been down there for a long time. He found a 1940 map.
So an old map that had the ditches labeled incorrectly.
Their
They
ditch,
were calling the whole thing New Prairie instead of the whole thing Barren. So they had their billing was screwed up.
and some of their land still goes to Barron Creek, and they're gonna continue to pay that, but I kept telling them, I can't go in your county and change this wrong assessment.
No.
But when she produced the map and worked with Raymond, they figured it out and, you know,
And I
So-
can't refund the people because I didn't collect from the people.
Right.
they collected it and sent it here. So she's gonna send it back with an explanation. The Drainage Board Secretary's on top of it, knows all about it, and she's gonna work it out. Next one's Cook Excavating, $2,600 on Taylor Creek, $264,000 in the fund. This was north of 100 North that had never been touched, Kenny, on Taylor Creek. These were dead ash trees that had fell on the Beischer property. So it's quite a bit of footage that Cook went in there and drug out all those dead trees, kind of made an access path. He wasn't able to get all the dead trees laying on the opposite bank, but they're not in the channels, you know, right now, so.
Is Taylor Creek shut off?
Should be.
That's what I was getting at.
If it's not, it's close. But, you know, when that gets silted in by downstream from the treatment plant, we'll be able to tackle it. There was 3.5 feet of silt there when we dug that out, that whole area.
We wanna make sure that guy sprays that this year.
Yeah, he owes my property, he didn't get it sprayed, and he didn't get the end sprayed.
He was in the office right before Christmas and we confronted him about him.
Yeah.
He didn't spray that last year.
No. They seen that cattle panel wired in, and somehow he didn't go through there.
But he has committed to going ahead and
Right.
This
Making it right this year, okay. All right, we've got this first batch of claims in front of us.
Move we pay these claims as presented.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Cox, second, Mr. Goff. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye. Aye. As carried unanimously. Our second set there, Jim.
Okay, Sullivan Excavating, $1,500. This is on Back Creek. There's $88,587 in the fund. This is a large tree that fell from Mike Burton's property, and our easement's clear on the other side, so we run our easement. And he had to cut the big tree up and haul it off. You know, there's nowhere to burn it right there, but it was right in the channel. And then this other is all reimbursements on the Milner Moon. And Mary has it all worked out, right?
That's the one we vacated.
Yeah, she's got
First
all
of
the
its
claims
kind for
forms
us.
ready
so-
to take to the auditor and the treasurer, right?
Yep, then once the commissioners approve it next Monday, then they'll get mailed out.
Okay, Karen Comer Farms, $13,370.03. Maryland Whitehead Trust, $5,554.70. Benjamin Grant Wilson, $1,278.18. Corey and Shannon Zirkle, $1,100.53. Gordon Goff, $1,100.60. William and Kimberly McKay, $1,174.82. Stephen and Mary Comer, $5,225.77. And Scott and Cheryl Rogers, $3,495.39. There's a total, that total in there was $32,302, right?
After these, it'll be zero.
Zero.
That clean that fund up? I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Cates, second, Mr. Cox. Any other discussion on that?
Mark's got your folders.
Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes, and those abstaining?
Aye.
Carried 3-1 abstention. I think that takes care of our bills.
I'll put that on top.
All right, under old business, we do have the
Here's this one too.
no movement on Little Crane Pond, and Hummel Creek, we do have. Did everybody get to look at this Hummel Creek Fund situation?
I did.
Um,
I did.
Oh, that's where
We've
we're
been
transfer, we've been tabling it, moving.
Yeah, this,
Until you were here to help.
this is the amount that we have to write off as loss.
The attorney fees.
Our attorney fees, and basically the general drain improvement fund takes that hit. We have been reimbursed by the landowner for the appropriate amount that the courts designated, and once we do this, it's over. So, how many
Thank you,
years?
thank
I mean,
you.
Gene Johnson was even working on this. That's how long it's
And
been.
we decided I can vote on it since it's just transfer. money.
Yes, yeah, there's no problem there.
And I checked with Kyle on that too, so.
So we are at the point where we need to formally say that we will absorb that loss, and that the Hummel Creek issue is over. As we move forward now, we're ready to do business.
We need a motion on this.
We do need it to
I'll
pay.
make a motion, however you want.
I'll
Get
figure
this
it out.
thing over with.
Just making sure that she did have the right number that, because
You're
the
the one
first
that
one she
helped me.
presented,
Now,
we
they
ended up with a
started,
zero balance.
they started collecting a new assessment on
Yes.
that.
That's correct, and this can't be applied to that. So we are writing off $143,045.56. This is a accumulation of approximately 20 years of work. Other than that,
And might add,
Check the
we won in
acreage is
court,
objective.
but we didn't win in the end.
Yep, that's the number of
Correct.
acres.
yeah, we won in
Here,
court,
here.
and the
No
unique thing is,
households,
we
180
did
acres
set the
is
precedent
30%.
for the state of Indiana.
Now there's a household on here.
If there's an obstruction from now on, you gotta have it. We've actually got a court case file now that says it has to be moved, so.
It was just a shame it was defended like it was by
Yeah.
the opposite side, or we
Yeah.
would never lost all this taxpayer money.
Well,
I second his motion.
we have a motion from Mr. Cates to write off that $143,045.56, seconded by Mr. Cox. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and we need everybody's signature on that to pass that on to the powers that be. I think we are ready to move to other business and our public hearings. Is that correct? All right, we need to have, I think we have on the agenda first Polywalk open ditch public hearing. And our process will be that we will hear our general information and history from the surveyor, and then we will open up for public discussion, both for and against the amount for the assessment. And then we hand it over, we close public hearing after that and give the board the opportunity to make the decision on what we'll do. So Jim, if you will give us the history and background for the Polywalk, we'll go from there.
The Polywalk was gonna be raised to $10 an acre, $50 home site, and $25 minimum for 4-year collection. This is a total of 1,348 acres. And out of that, we have 13.41% of objections. Sarah Cox, 147 acres. And another Sarah Cox on Leisure Farm at 31.86 acres. And Taylor Leisure, 1.69 acres. So 13% of the watershed did object. This would be a 4-year collection. And have to see. After 4 years, or after a year, it's going to collect $14,339.90 a year. And that would be a start. I'm working on it.
All right, any questions from the board to the surveyor before we open up for public comment? Hearing none, we will open up the public hearing portion to have public comment. If you would like to speak for or against the advertised assessment for the Polywalk, we invite you to step to the platform, present your name, your address, let us know your acreage if you have that right off, and let us know your thoughts.
Come up here?
Right up to this,
Okay.
so that we can get you on the microphone.
Hi, I'm Sarah Cox. Would you guys mind introducing yourselves? As this is my first
Good.
drainage board meeting.
Mark, Kenny Coates.
Richard Cox.
Mark Bardsley?
Gordon Goff.
Jim Todd.
Mary Wiesner.
We're the board.
We're the
Us
board.
four.
Right, you're the board, right, right, okay. So, I am owner of Leisure Farms and Shady Nook Farm. Phil Leisure was my dad, if you guys knew him, you guys knew him. I'm objecting just because I don't feel like I've had enough information about this. I did hear that it was being petitioned, but as far as like the details, I didn't really feel like I had enough of the details, and I was concerned. I mean, as it was presented to me, it was all 3 drainages, and now I understand it's been split up. But my farm has all 3 of those.
Right.
And so it's a pretty major impact to my farm. And I'm just concerned about how we decided it needed to be done and how much it's gonna cost, because I can't imagine it's only gonna cost $10 an acre to do this work. And what the actual benefit is gonna be. I don't have any drainage problems on my land. So if other people do, then, you know, I'm open to that. But I felt like there should be some science to it, like how, you know, how do we decide this? And how do we make these decisions? And I am, you know, new to these kinds of concerns. You guys have all the experience, but, I mean, obviously the fields have to drain. We're all farmers. We can't have swamps. But I also know that, you know, taking out all the trees and what that does to the landscape and the, you know, it's a windbreak, it's erosion control, it's wildlife habitat, and I'm not interested in having only open drains on my property and would protest that. So I'm, like I said, I'm a scientist at heart. I want things to be done that need to be done, and it's certainly true that these drains haven't been attended to, you know, in at least my lifetime. So those were my, you know, concerns and objections. And I did read the minutes. I think I went back to when it was proposed in October, and someone said that there had been no objections, and that's not really true. So, but this is the, you know, then I didn't know what was happening until I got my drainage board assessment. So I feel like I have a pretty big stake in all this, as, you know, about 600 acres through these 3 ditches that I own. So I feel like I need to be part of the discussion and the planning and, you know what's happening so that we can make sure the land's taken care of in the proper way.
Go right ahead, Jim.
I got a question. You personally have 600 acres?
Personally, yes.
What's the total acreage?
But that, we're just talking about Polywalk. I'm talking about your whole map there.
Well,
I know, I
what's the
understand. I
Polywalk?
just, when I heard about the petition, it was all of it. So I'm just now kind of understanding how it's been split up. So you're right, I am 13% on that
Okay.
one, and you can clarify that for the, yeah.
Okay,
I apologize for that.
okay.
Misunderstanding.
Want to get that straight.
Yeah, no, I agree. To me, it's all one thing, so it's hard to split it up.
It's not all one thing.
I know.
That's the problem.
But that was proposed that way. I mean, when I heard about the petition, it was proposed that it was all 3. So it's been split
Initially,
apart
yeah, it was
since
proposed. Initially, it was.
it's been split apart since I heard about it
And
initially.
it makes better sense to split it up.
Yeah.
I would think so.
Jim, you had some,
Well, the trees, we would only cut down one side, you know, in order to dig out the ditch, you've got to remove those old growth trees. And we discovered there's 8 washes in the whole place that could be rip-trapped. You know, the brushing, if you clear cut it all, we've got an estimate of $130,000, so that'd take a while to accumulate that money. And, you know, on the digging it out, once we got it brushed, we're gonna take quotes on the brushing with contractors, so it'd be a competitive quotes to see what would happen. There's a 75-foot easement through your property from the top of each bank
Right.
for the drainage board to work in. And we got it about, could be $30,000 to dig it out, you know, and spread the spoil.
So $30,000 to dig, and then you said $130,000 for the brush
Yes.
in the Polywalk,
And that's just doing one side, that's not doing both sides.
That was one
and
side.
$10 an acre in 4 years. Okay.
it will take a while to
It'd
get
take
it done.
15 years to pay for it.
So what we're gonna do is that, as you pay the money in, you know, sometimes the drainage board lowers the amount if the majority of the public wants the amount lower, but in order to accomplish anything, it needs to be about $10 so we can get started downstream eventually. The money's gonna have to collect for a little while, a year or two, then we can start downstream and work your way. But we would
start
work, we
downstream
would work
first.
with you as a landowner, you know, meet you, the top of the slope on the non-operating side, all those trees could be left. You know, and if there's a nice big one that is on the other side that we could work around, we could designate some of them and you pick them out, we'd mark them. The contractor could leave them if they wasn't in the channel, if they're not in the channel, at the top of bank. We could leave a few of them that he could work around. I think the board would be okay with that.
Only comment I got, if we leave a tree on the opposite, on the bank,
Yeah.
and it blows in the ditch, it's your tree, take it out.
Well, I don't think you need to point at me, sir, but that's a valid point.
We have some folks that say, nope, it's your tree, it's your tree. No, if it stays, it's your tree. So-
And if it
Well, I
dies,
mean, obviously, we've been maintaining our creek bank for,
Some people do. some
many,
people
many
don't.
years, so.
Yeah,
is the flow good through you? The water's getting away?
Yeah, we have a, well, no,
Does it jump out of the bank?
no, not there. Mm-mm. No. No, though, there's Beaver Dam on the Middle Fork, but we're not talking about that right now, so, yeah. Mhm.
Other questions
Is
for
this the
Sarah?
one that goes along the road there? Does this go along the road, this Polly?
This is the western one, the one farthest west.
This is this shed.
Yeah, but there where Phil Laser lived.
Yep.
that East there, along the road.
That's still part of the Middle Fork at that point.
Oh, okay.
Do you got this map in front of you?
Yes.
I
Yeah,
got one here.
so where Phil Laser lived on the highway, is that what you're talking about?
No, they're
that.
where Max lives.
Or Max, yeah, that's,
But east of Max's house, there's an open ditch right along the road.
That's just
That-
a spur off
yeah,
the
that's not
main,
it.
That's a spur off of what?
off the center, off of Middle Fork or Wildcat.
And it does come up on the county record, and it would be included in, being clean. I think we looked it up, is this on the Poly or the Middle?
No, that's on the middle,
We're talking Pollywog at the moment.
yeah.
Right, he had a question,
Kenny's question.
which,
Who's the guy sitting next to
Which-
Earl?
which shed it was in.
Yeah. So any more questions for Sarah right now? After we've talked a little bit, Sarah, does $10 an acre make sense now, or is it still high in your opinion?
High, like as in I don't wanna pay it? No, that's not really my issue. My issue is whether it needs to be done to begin with, or what will happen and what it will look like, that's my concern.
Well,
Seems like-
this drainage board meets twice a month, and we'll be the representative. This is the drainage board secretary, Mary. She's gonna take care of the funds. And, before anything's done on your property, we would meet you. And we want you as happy as we can to get through your property. If you have any concerns or questions later on, you're always welcome to come to the board to talk to these guys, and they would vote on the issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know how the process works, because I don't think it's really these guys were very helpful to me. I came up and talked to them last week, and I really appreciated the time they spent with me. In that part, it's nice to see government working that way, it was really helpful. But, it's just not obvious what's going on at each of these meetings. I couldn't find the agenda online, maybe I'm just not looking in the right place, but.
The agenda doesn't get posted.
Yeah, and then,
Just minutes?
yeah, so I did go through the minutes, but there's no minutes past November, they probably been approved. And so anyway, I mean, sometimes from a transparency issue, it's hard for us to kind of see. I didn't know that they were live streamed, and, I could have, and now obviously also they're at 11 o'clock in the morning, and a working girl like me, it's just costing me a
Hard
lot
to
of
get
money.
there.
It's costing me a lot of money to be here today, and work I'm not doing, so, it's good to know that we can do it by WebEx in the future. You can talk on WebEx too, like I could if I was in my office. Okay.
As long as
But
you
we-
have
we-
sight and sound, we can take any question or any suggestion that you have right online.
Okay.
But, this board's responsible to take care of your property. We don't want to damage your property. The spoil would be leveled, the trees would be burnt and disposed of that have to be.
Yeah, they burn them on site to get rid of
Yes.
If possible.
If we have to cross any fences are the responsibility of the landowners, and they will be, you have your choice to take them down yourself, or the contractor will cut it just enough to get through, but then you're responsible for putting the fence back in the easement. That's never a good thing to hear,
Oh, that's okay.
but we don't want to damage your property, and we will be meeting you and making sure you know everything that's going to be done. And if you have a complaint, you bring it before these guys and they vote on it. I'm not gonna force anything on your property.
Okay. Okay.
And if you want to attend with WebEx, just get a hold of me and I'll email you the instructions,
Okay.
how to get on there.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. Anyone else like to speak for or against Polly Walk? Start my auctioneer mood, going once. Going twice. Three times. We will close the public comments to the public hearing and turn it over to the board. Okay. Just a question, Sarah?
Yes.
With what you're hearing from the board and what we're going to be wrestling with, are you still opposed to it? Knowing that we downstream have to clean it so that the water flows?
Well, I still have not been presented with evidence that the water is not flowing. So I guess I would still
Burr,
have
you
to
got
say.
anything on that?
Hmm?
Burr's the one that brought it all to us.
Yes.
Well,
Burr hasn't talked to me about it, so.
no, I haven't. Got water up on the Polly Walk, Madison County line. Madison County has lowered their ditch significantly. They've dipped out, I don't know how much silt, multiple feet. And that doesn't do them any benefit because, backing behind Tobias and Myers and whatnot, I know there's beavers are active there as well. There's places that when trees do fall, it's not accessible. It's hard to get them out. You can see, basically, you can see stagnant water on the Madison County side year-round on that.
We was in the county tile that lets out into that
On
on the
Tobias.
Tobias farm this year, and it was standing
Half full of water.
half full of stagnant water, so obviously that water has no way of escaping at that point. So,
On that particular ditch.
on that particular ditch, on Polly Walk.
And I'd just like to say, the ditch bottom on you will be took down to the old original ditch bottom. There could be approximately 2 feet of silt, probably at least, but it would be spread and seeded and leveled.
And the outlet to acre regulated ditches into the Polly Walk, and that's probably the one you're talking of. And the restricted outlet.
Then Madison County has they have lots of acres on Polly Walk too. I don't know how many thousands of acres in Madison County are traveling back through there, correct?
Yeah, there's, just like,
And they, to my knowledge, they never ask anybody on the Polly Walk to form a joint board or for us to waive our rights. They just did it. Now they just would assume we charge the $10 and take care of our part, and they charge their money and take care of their part, which
Yes. Simplify it.
is the plan.
How long with this $10 before you can have any money in the fund to start this thing?
15.
Huh?
At least a couple,
15 before you pay for it.
Well,
couple years,
you
at
could-
least.
You could start on it in a few years, correct?
Right, couple years.
When the funds are there, you can start, you can chip away piece by piece.
Well,
I mean, yeah, we're all open to a higher rate, but that's not the way that it was sold, it's not the way it was proposed. So, be counterintuitive to
Yeah.
go
You're-
back and put.
you're
it in.
starting somewhere,
Yes,
but it's not gonna be very
Yes.
quick because you're only
Yes.
going, $14,000 a year, all you're gonna do. And what you're gonna do for
Well,
14,000?
The whole reason we're here is because a few years ago, Steve had some problems with water movement. And he's got on the high side of it, over by Rick.
And that's not in the Polly Walk though, right?
no.
Well,
Oh.
but it's all combined, right?
Yeah, no, I
right in
see the
here.
map, yeah.
Anyway, so he's losing acreage, and we proposed we would clean up on the high ground, and again, hopefully get enough elevation to get it going. We shot it, and there's nothing we don't start today, it just continues to get worse and worse. And then the bill gets bigger and bigger. So the thought was, if we started at a low amount and tried to get it sold, at least we would be accumulating some funds for the future.
And there's never been a maintenance on this.
Yeah.
Our forefathers.
It's been a forgotten part of the county.
Right.
Yeah.
The corner ass.
Forgotten part of the county.
And-
Maybe we like it.
Well, you know, had this started 50 years ago or 100 years ago, we wouldn't be in this predicament today.
Correct.
I had that
And-
question.
What was this
And all the-
advertised at?
10.
10.
At 10?
10, 50, 25, and 4 years.
If your father had paid maintenance, we wouldn't be in the problem. But nobody has paid anything for how many years? I don't know how old
Because
your
we
dad
haven't had
is.
this tough
Was.
conversation we're having today.
Joe Seward said that he thought he remembered it being cleaned when he was
A teenager,
a teenager.
70 years ago.
That's about what the records reflected, so.
So that's the reason it's a problem. It doesn't fix itself.
As,
A lot of money.
yeah, and as a county surveyor, I pay $50 for a home site and $5 an acre for my other 10 acres on Taylor Creek, and that's generated a lot of money. We've cleaned Taylor Creek out completely. It's working real good, and now we have, what, 200,000 in the fund for the next time when it gets bad.
But
It's
you got a lot more people.
lot bigger ditch than this, a lot more people.
And I would like to add too, that this was a project handed to me that already had numbers on it. I did not dream these numbers up.
Okay.
This is just
Well-
something that I picked up and was told.
Yeah.
But a lot of the problem
prob-
is the tiles, like he said, the tiles are submerged. So we get that 2.5 feet of sediment out on your property and get it downstream. These tiles are gonna have daylight and they're gonna work a lot better to drain areas that's way back away from the open ditch, you know. That's the whole reason.
All
My
right.
opinion is it's too cheap, but
Well, we advertised
I know.
as high as
I
we
know,
thought
but
we should.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
the bird went around telling these people that
Well,
they could do it for this and
no,
it don't,
he didn't say they could do it. That's what he proposed.
Yep, to get it
To
started.
get it started. Otherwise, it would be
but I
dead in the water.
mean, you know, 10 years from now, you got enough money, you don't wanna wait 10 years.
Yeah.
No,
The guy farming the ground wants it so he
Yeah.
can get it drained this
and you know,
year.
10% of the acreage out there could petition to raise this someday too. And if they get enough money and it gets raised, you get it all done, also they can petition to lower the ditch tax. You know, if you get it all done, if a group of you get together and you say, hey, it's in good shape, we think we can get by on $5 and keep it sprayed now and dip out the high spots, it doesn't have to stay at this rate.
And if you it collects for 4 years and shuts off.
If no
Okay.
money's been spent.
If no money's been spent.
Yeah, I expect, except it's gonna cost more, then we'll have to
Yeah.
pay more. Yeah.
All right. So it's in our hands now. Do you have more questions or thoughts?
We've overheard an objection, but then nobody else, I guess that means everybody else was in favor of it. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, on the
I look at
polywalk,
it.
we had 20 or 13%
Okay,
objecting, and
so it means 87%.
the folks that carried the petition would be a part of the affirming, you know.
I'll make a motion to make it whatever was advertised.
$10 an acre, right? Mm-hmm. I'll second the motion.
So, Mr. Cates has made a motion to approve the advertised rate. That's $10 an acre, $50 a home site, $25 minimum with a 4-year collection period. And Mr. Goff has seconded that. Now we can discuss it any further for the board? Or are we pretty much,
Let's cut and dry.
okay? All right, all those in favor of the motion would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, it is unanimous. So we have approved the Polywalk Open Ditch number 590 as advertised. We'll have you guys sign that for affirmation purposes. And we will go, Jim, to our next, is that the waters?
Yes. You start?
Go right ahead, sir.
Okay. The Waters Ditch was petitioned, it's in sections 27, 28, 34, 35, and 36. It was petitioned for maintenance also at $10 an acre with a $50 home site and a $25 minimum for a 4-year collection. And there was, 155.18 acres and one home site at 6.51% of the acres by Mrs. Cox was petitioned against it, or objections against it.
How many acres is in it, the watershed?
It's at the top of it right here.
And what were the rates? Were the rates the same as the other?
Yes, $10.50 and a home site and $25 minimum.
They've got 1,000 more acres in the water.
Yeah, the 2,382 acres, it's gonna bring in, with the home sites, $24,782.90. And there have been a group, about 20 years ago, did clean their part for 8,551 feet. The Drainage Board has read their letter, because they had a letter that ended up being like $22 an acre maybe. But they're asking to get a break for a couple of years and not pay a ditch tax. And I couldn't really find anything in the code that lets the board do that, you know. All the downstream is really heavy trees. I have walked this one, and I did have field book where we shot it every 200 feet on the ditch bottom. There's a lot of silt on the lower end where it meets Middle Fork, a lot of heavy trees. Again, we only want to cut enough trees off, but the digging for 17,133 feet is approximately $34,266. And the brushing, there's 12 washouts on it that would need riprap. And again, it could be around $130,000 for the brushing. But as the money gets accumulated and we know we can do sections, we'll send out quotes. And Raymond's got it broke down from road to road and the footage. We could send out quotes, you know. And it's however you guys want to direct the board. Do you want to try and get it brushed? Or do you want to try and get one area brushed downstream and then dredge it? You know, it's your money, it's your ditch. I'll kind of want the input on how you want to spend your money from the people that's on the ditch.
After we get some built up.
Yeah, after we get some built up, and it could take one, you know, once the money gets built up, you talk to the board, come to a meeting, tell us what you want, you know, what's your opinion. And then we'll take these quotes, you can come back to the meeting when the quotes are open, they'll be sealed and open in front of us. We'll send the excavators a letter of intent on what we expect from them. And that's the way we would move on it. But the work still needs all done downstream, and I don't know how silted in the section that's been dug out. It's been quite a while back.
It's on the top end, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I remember when it was done, and I think it was done about 2000. So it probably needs to be
Done again?
redone again.
This one?
This one here.
Yep. Here's the key of it. Water,
okay.
greenish color.
Okay, well, it probably needs to be done again.
It don't look the same.
Yeah.
But that was my question too, because our tract has been, you know, it's paid for by my father-in-law, and Richie's paid on their section, so it's brushed, we've kept it clean, there's nothing on it right now, so.
And we've had that in a smaller scenario, and there's not a whole lot in the Indiana code that gives you any break once this goes on, because
The only thing we can do is stop it at their property line, the assessment. Couldn't you?
Yeah, but whenever it gets dug up there, it's gonna need dredged again.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't disagree about paying maintenance on it, it's just a matter of, you know, 2/3 or 3/4 of the cost is brushing it. And there's nothing to do on the sections that were
Right.
done back in the early 2000s, is that fair that we have to pay again?
It's not fair, but you give your neighbors a good break.
Did you guys come to the drainage board to do that, or what?
That was before my time, so I don't know.
There's no record of it.
Is it not? Because I think Richie's and Phil were the only two
Yeah.
that
They
did
just-
that. But it needed done, it was,
And from my understanding, was speaking with Richie, they came to the board and they tried to do what we're doing now, was put the maintenance on it, and they got shot down. There was opposition, and that ended.
We might have had an informal meeting, not a public hearing, but just called people in to see.
Okay.
Does the
Well,
board
I'm on the
have,
board, but I don't remember. That's been a long time ago.
anybody on the board have any more questions for Jim before we open it up for public comment? Okay, let's open up the Walters open ditch for public hearing and comment. If you'd like to speak to the advertised issue for or against, again, we'd ask you step up to the podium, present your name, your address, and your acreage. That would help us, and give us your comments. I was gonna say, you coming up, Sarah?
I was gonna say, I need to do this again, right? For the
Yeah.
record.
You need to,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
For the record.
So Sarah Cox, 8600 West, 1100 South, Shady Nook Farm, Leisure Farms. The waters goes through the north side of our farm. So I'll just be brief. I have, because you heard my concerns, but I'll repeat for the record, that I needed to know more about the project. I wanted to make sure that it actually needed to be done, that I had input when it came to what happened on my property. I have concerns that the cost is gonna actually cost more and that we'll be paying more later. And so basically the same concerns. I have walked all this drain and my drains are draining, but they're close. You showed me this summer that it's low, but, and I would say that one certainly looks more like it needs it than the other ones from my experience, so.
Does Mary have your contact number?
No, but I will certainly give it to
You
you.
talked to Mary?
Yeah, I talked to her last week.
She needs to keep your phone number, so
Okay.
we keep you posted, and when the
Okay.
money gets built up, we'll meet you on the property.
Okay.
When we have to come up with a plan to send the letters out to contractors.
Yeah,
Same thing, there could be some trees that we could save, if you want them saved. And if they die later or blow in,
yeah, I mean, you don't have to deal with the ash trees, right? They're all gone.
Most of them.
but you know, a little bit of the money will have to be used, like if there's a bad tree that goes down that's blocking the channel, we'll have to go in and get that out, just to keep things flowing.
Only if we left them.
Beaver Dam, huh? Well, I'm talking about before
Well,
we
they're
get it
talking
clear
about
cut
it.
it.
Yeah.
There still could be blockages once in
yeah.
a while.
She
Beaver
was talking about
dams.
they got a bunch of beaver dams down there, right?
There are beaver dams. That one, I don't know if he has an active one. It's not on my property. That one doesn't. But
And, you
there
know,
certainly have been.
Yeah, we've tried a couple licensed beaver trappers that can, or nuisance trappers. But if you knew somebody that you could get on there and get the beavers trapped out, then this maintenance money would come and rip that dam out, you know?
If you don't get them out, they'll be right back, and
Oh, I know. We ripped one out and every night he came back, every night. I mean, they're really industrious little wonderful creatures.
Yes, they
It's
are.
unfortunate that we can't live in harmony with them, but.
Any other comments, Sarah? Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to the Waters open ditch?
I did have a phone call from Ann Gunning, and she's opposed to it, but she says she wasn't gonna go to court over it.
And Gunning.
She owns property on it, I'm not sure how much.
It has to be a written
Okay.
objection.
She's right
to
there.
She did not give us a written objection.
I just told her that I would mention her at the meeting, she,
And you have been faithful to do so.
And her grandson's name is?
Dave Fleming. Is it Dave or,
Dave is
Yeah.
Gary.
okay, I don't know which.
He was here
is
at the
which.
last meeting.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of heavy trees down on their end.
They have very many acres.
108 acres.
Not enough to get them over 50%.
yeah, and she wasn't.
You
gonna-
got,
She wasn't gonna lawyer
Here-
up.
Here's another 37 acres. But there's old growth trees down on that lower end and about 3 feet of sediment.
you got 2,300 acres in this thing.
That needs to go through there.
Well, I know we are technically behind the curve on this, but in one way, we're also ahead of a total reconstruction. By getting the money on the maintenance and starting the process, we alleviate that looming reconstruction that takes engineering and major hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. And I applaud our landowners for saying, hey, we want to take care of this before something really gets bad. All right. Anybody else want to speak? Going once? Twice? 3 times. We will close the public comment portion of the hearing and go to put it in the hands of the board. Gentlemen, what do you want to discuss and/or decide?
We're $10 on this, right?
$10 per acre, 50 per
10,
house,
50, 25.
25 minimum, and 4-year collection.
I move that we approve this maintenance at the posted rates.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Cox. Second, Mr. Goff, to approve the Waters Open Ditch assessment as advertised. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous. We have moved that forward. This will be forwarded to the auditor's office, and
It will bill this year.
it will bill this year.
And I'd just like to say, I'm still working on the Middle Fork, and I've talked to Ray Hyatt. And, you know, they're preparing an assessment roll in the watershed of what comes in here on this, either through surface or tile. Not so much on the polywalk, but to pay on this Middle Fork, but, and he was in favor of 10, but he didn't really want to form a joint board or waive his rights, so that's different. I'd have to send a registered letter requesting that later, after they produce the watershed. But, you know, the main outlet's the Middle Fork, so we don't want to forget about it. It's down the road when I get the other county.
All right. We've concluded our public hearings. I have one other item here just to acknowledge that the Board of Commissioners did reappoint our recommendation, Kenny Cates, as a sentence of 4 more years. Hard labor.
But it's good pay, though.
Do you have other business we need to work on?
Not today.
Well, it's still almost a record to get 2 public hearings done in an hour.
You should have been here the last meeting.
Well, me and Raymond, we could talk for another hour about a lot of stuff, but it can wait.
That's okay.
We're working on it.
All
I move
right.
we adjourn.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Cox to adjourn, second, Mr. Goff. All those in favor would say aye.
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 Yes, sir.
Kenny, when you taking some time off? You going down south?
I'm going
Turn her
tomorrow.
off.
Are you?
Massive